La Lechuza is a creature from Mexican and South Texas folklore, described as a giant owl with the face of an old woman or witch. She is said to be a bruja, witch, who has the ability to shapeshift into a large bird, often appearing at night to hunt, haunt, or deliver omens.
I remember when I was young, no older than 6, I had encountered my first Lechuza. It was in the middle of the night, and everyone was asleep but me. I had stayed up watching cartoons on Adult Swim, and I remember the TV had suddenly turned off by itself. I tried everything, from plugging it in and out, pressing all the buttons, you name it. Then, all of a sudden, I had this ugly, retching feeling that I wasn't alone. The light coming through the window had disappeared for a moment, as if something big enough flew by to cover the whole window. I even heard a loud whoosh, and then it was quiet. I sat there, frozen in fear, when I heard these heavy thumps coming from the roof. It almost sounded like if someone was hopping around slowly on the roof. I had gotten enough courage to inch my way towards the window and tried to see if I could spot what was making that noise. The thumps stopped, and suddenly the air was filled with a loud whistle. It wasn't like a high-pitched one. It was a low-pitched but loud whistle. Almost sounded like a man raising his pitch by 1 before losing it back down. It did this many times, and I could tell it was definitely coming from the roof. Without warning, the Lechuza flew off the roof and landed in a tree nearby. This thing was massive. It had to have a wingspan of at least 10 to 15 feet and a height of 6 feet tall when perched on the branch. I could only make out the silhouette at first, but when the whistling came from the trees, I noticed that whatever this bird was, it looked like it had the face of a human. It was a little off, the eyes a little beadier, and the nose appeared to be gone, but it resembled that of a human head. I ran to my parents when I saw that, but they told me to be quiet and to pray to God, and it would fly away. That's when I learned it was called a Lechuza, a witch that possessed a bird-like body. They told me it usually came when children were up late, and the reason for that was because they can easily manipulate electronics and tools, such as guns and such, meaning they would be able to enter a home, take the kid with ease, and the parents wouldn't be able to do a thing. In other words, it would be easy pickings. It would take your kid flying through the air only to land somewhere to eat the guts through the belly button. But since they're witches or evil spirits, praying will cause them to leave you alone, as they do not like it. I'm not sure why, but they just don't. Anyways, me and my parents prayed quietly until the whistling eventually stopped. I don't remember much after that, other than falling asleep and then brushing it off as a creepy night. But eventually, I would have more encounters, like coming home from a store late at night alone and seeing a large winged creature flying over me before disappearing into the trees in the distance before whistling that ugly tune. Or when I was lying in bed trying to sleep before hearing it land on my roof before whistling. It's the whistling that scares me. That's when they let you know that they know you're awake, that they know you're aware of them.
This happened when I was only a few weeks old, and my mother decided to go to Monterrey, Mexico, to show me to her family who lives there. When we got there, my mother told me that her family decided to have a big party to celebrate our arrival. She explained how everyone wanted to hold me
and showered me with gifts as I was the first child of my mother. When it was over, my grandmother took my mom and I to the guest bedroom where we would be sleeping in. My grandma bought an old-school bassinet for me to sleep in, while my mother slept in a bed on the other side of the room. My mom put me in the bassinet and put 2 small pillows beside me because she was afraid of me accidentally bumping my head. As we got settled, my grandma's Rottweiler named Rocky came in. He didn't want to leave, so he stayed in our room since he was relatively a gentle dog. It was very hot that night, so to let some air in, my mom opened a sliding glass door that led to a balcony. We were on the 2nd floor, so she felt safe leaving it open. Soon after, she got settled in and went to sleep. It was around 3 a.m. when my mom awoke from the loud growls and barks of Rocky. It was strange to her because he had never acted this way. He was relatively a quiet and gentle dog, so this was alarming to her. She then heard me crying and rushed to my aid. She was left shocked and speechless to what she could make out in the dark. I was flipped on my stomach, face down on the mattress. She immediately ran to pick me up and turned her attention to Rocky, who was still growling and barking uncontrollably. She looked up by the balcony and saw it. She explained the creature as the ugliest, most gigantic owl she had ever seen before. Its mouth and wings were wide open, and its feathers were black as coal. Rocky ran to the balcony as an attempt to catch it, but the owl quickly flew away into the darkness. My grandpa quickly came in the room after hearing the commotion. He came to check on us. He found my mother in the middle of the room, on the floor, holding me like if she was shielding me, and Rocky barking by the balcony into the sky. My mom found a scratch on my leg. She also noticed that the pillows that she had used to keep my head in place were on the other side of the room, as if they were tossed out of the way. Today, my mother tells me that I survived an attempt from La Lechuza. Mexican legend says that La Lechuza is a creature, specifically a witch, who sold her soul to the devil in exchange for power, giving her the ability to transform into a monster, a giant owl. It is said that La Lechuza goes to hunt at night for any potential victims, like animals and drunk people. But more preferably, she loves to hunt for children to snatch and take back to her hut in the mountains, where she would devour them or sacrifice. Whenever I go visit my family, they always call me Lechuza, as a remembrance for surviving La Lechuza's attempt.
I grew up in a small Texas town, about an hour east of San Antonio. The kind of town where everyone knows everyone, a place where it's hard to keep a secret, where gossip and rumors are the local entertainment. And among the older generation, rumors of brujeria were always a thunderous murmur. We, neighborhood kids, were playing baseball in the vacant lot across the street from my childhood home. A few of the younger local children were sitting in the grass watching. The sun was below the horizon, and dusk still provided enough light for more play. Nearby, an owl was hooting its evening ballad. A loud screech stole everyone's attention. Our eyes turned to the group of younger kids. The frightened yell from one of the younger children immediately told us something was wrong. 2 kids were pointing to the night sky. All the players moved towards the smaller kids to investigate the problem. "There it is!" a kid shouted. Everyone's attention followed the kid's aimed finger, our eyes straining against the twilight sky. It was coming back towards us, a large bird swooping down, bombarding us with its evil laughter of shrieks and screeches. its large talons plunging down at us, searching for young flesh. "Did you see that? What is it? Here it comes again!" Diving towards us was a fearsome owl, eyes burning red as its airborne attacks came closer with each pass, its wicked scream becoming human-like. One of the older boys grabbed the bat and swung at the violent creature. With skill or dumb look, he landed a solid hit. Baseball bat and owl clashed in a flurry of feathers, and the bird hurtled to the ground. A few of us ran to the downed bird, kicking at it, stomping our feet against its flailing body. Suddenly, a shrill voice came from the owl. "Ya no me pegan!" We jumped back in shock, fright and disbelief. "Stop hitting me! Déjame!" the bird hissed at us. We grabbed the youngest of the kids and scrambled away to our homes. Each house was animated with the telling of the terrifying events. Parents tried to calm their frantic children, listening and trying to understand the hysterical reports. But as the story became more clear, the parents knew what or who had attacked the children. Moms consoled the kids, while the dads went out to meet with other dads. Could the rumors be true, they asked of each other? Is this real? Do they really exist? I watched from the living room window as several of the men walked down the road towards an old run-down house. 2 elderly sisters lived there. They mostly kept to themselves. The only time they were seen was when they were out tending to their garden. Known locally as Las Hermanas Rojas, we were told to stay away from their house. I was not present for what occurred at the Brujas' house, but over the following months, through rumor and eavesdropping, I pieced together the night's happenings. When the men arrived at the old house, they were met by one of the sisters. The man wanted to speak with both of them and ask about the earlier events, ask the unsettling question on the town's mind. The old woman told them to go away. They did not want visitors. The men insisted, "We want to speak with your sister. We want answers from both of you." The old woman answered that her sister was ill, not feeling well, sick in bed, and could not take visitors. The men persisted, and in an act of pitchforks and torches, pushed their way into the Brujas' house. There, in a back bedroom, the old woman was lying in bed, her face and body bruised and scraped by the beating the kids had dispensed to La Lechuza. The sister screamed at the men, "Mira lo que han hecho tus hijos!" The house shook with anger. The men retreated from the bedroom, frightened by the new revelation, unsure of their next step, uncertain of the proper punishment for the Lechuza, which was now in the form of a frail old woman. They decided to bring the local priest, in hopes that he would know how to fight this evil. When the men returned with the priest, they found the house empty. The Brujas sisters were gone, never seen again in this town.